Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to some last-minute kick-out action. We are here today to talk about AEW Revolution 2021. As always, I am your new, reigning, defending AEW? I wish I was the AEW World Champion. I am the last-minute kick-out predictions champion. Finally, the gold has been wrestled away from one Mr. Turbo Finley, who is also here. Hello, John.
Hi. It's great that you are happy and I'm here.
I'm always happy. I'm just happier when I have gold. And joining us as always, forever waiting in the wings, Mr. Kevin Eva. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah. Your predictions weren't too brilliant, were they, sir?
Nothing. That entire week period and probably like the 2 weeks where just nothing worked. So I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. I'm reasonably happy with what happened.
I think it was a very good card. I think the matches were good, with the exception of the obvious botch. I think that aside, I think it was a very good card, just very long.
Yes.
You know?
I will say that whilst it was very long, like all good AEW shows, for me, just went.
Everything clicked. Yeah,
nothing. It just went. It's not like a W where you're literally going, "Oh my god, have we got this much long to go?"
Yeah.
And that's always the great contrast, I think, of AEW and WWE.
I think the biggest thing. I think you've hit it right on the head. Like every match was interesting and watching, and I think even the one where I hate to say it, but the AEW Women's Championship match, which is like Hikaru Shida and
Ryo Mizuki.
Thank you. Who we don't personally know a lot. Obviously, Hikaru.
No,
Shida,
we had to learn it on the fly with the commentary. There was a story there, but we didn't know about it. And as a result, there was no heat going into the match. So, but even then, as we were talking in the Discord, I mean, Dusk from LMC, we were sort of talking about, and I just said like prediction. This will be very hard hitting. So there was still that you knew going in that this was going to be something to watch. Even from you're not invested in it, but you knew that, hey, you want to see this because this is going to be uncomfortable, but in a good way uncomfortable.
It was still, my point is that it was still good to watch, and I was invested in the match,
absolutely.
even though I didn't know
You still watch them all.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. So we'll start from the top. We'll start with the pre-show. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, with Rebel's replacement of Maki Ito, against the team of Riho and Thunder Rosa. Solid match overall. I really enjoyed.
And a good outing for Maki Ito as well. Because like even though she was in the tournament and a lot of people did like her from the tournament and whatnot, she got an even better shine in this tag match. I feel.
As surprise as our first surprise of the evening, it was a really good one, and it did the job. Everyone got to look good. Obviously ended via shenanigans, so that protects Rio and Thunder Rosa, and makes you and sort of lays a seed for the other day. And also, so you kind of got everything you wanted out of that match.
I mean, it's starting to build back up the women's division. That's really the goal of this, isn't it? So
yes, and more importantly, we were starting to get women actually back in, as we've mentioned before. So yeah, all of this was good from a next step point of view with the women's division.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely, it's better than how it has been for months and months and months. The women's division has been needing to get some strength behind it, and now I feel as though they're finally starting off now with their division getting stronger now. So
the tournament was good because it like it reset everything. It reintroduced you to everybody.
And then you have these favorites,
and you've got then you sort of it's a reset of like the order of people, and obviously thanks to everything else, because like any good tournament, you start off with it ignites various other feuds. They can then spin off from it, and then you've obviously got the title story as well. So,
yep, cool. Okay, so opening the main card. We had the AEW World Tag Team Championship match, the Young Bucks defending against Jericho and MJF. I like this a lot. It was way more action-packed than I was expecting, to be fair. And once again, can't help but sing along to Jericho's entrance theme. Just because that.
You and everyone else that was there.
I mean, it's such a catchy thing. You can't help yourself but to sing along. It's so annoying sometimes. I really enjoyed this match overall. Like, I think it was very well done, just in general.
I felt though there was a bit plodding in the mid, between, Jericho, because obviously Jericho's still slightly slower than what he has been.
Jericho's
previously.
slower than everybody else in that ring because he's got 20 years at least. I don't know how old the Young Bucks are, but. I know MJF's
age-wise, yeah.
MJF's like 24, 23, 24. I don't know how old the Young Bucks are.
I think they're in their 30s now.
The Young Bucks are at least 60.
I mean, if you add their ages together, yeah. But Jericho's like 50 something.
Well, that's how it works, right? Tag teams are announced. It's like weighing
in combined weight.
Blue. So how old are the Young Bucks? Well.
Yeah, so Matt is 35, Nick's 31.
Yeah,
so
so it was like it was just I saw the match and it was just a little bit, it was like the
middle was a bit
the middle was just a bit it was just plotted a little bit.
Mean,
nothing to not like it's not like a Randy Orton kind of like stop and like work the kind of like thing.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
It just slowed down a little too much. But then when the Bucks had control again, it was like boom.
I think that's part of the parcel though. Like if you look at any Bucks match, like they start strong out the gate. There's always a lag in the middle, and then everything picks up for that ending in any Bucks match. I think that's.
But in
that's
this match, it started with MJF and Jericho getting the upper hand on Bucks. Then it was the Bucks, and then it was Jericho and MJF again, and going in it. I mean, though, granted, I'm still surprised of how the Young Bucks are still working. While being champions and stuff like that. I just feel as though it's like I really thought they could have just dropped it here and just continued with a storyline with with Jericho and MJF being the tag title holders and having rough shot in the
I agree,
but I understand. But of course, we're recording this after Dynamite now,
where we know what we thought was always been accelerated rapidly.
Yes, I mean, I don't think they're going to like. The reason I didn't think Jericho was going to win it to begin with was not because of that storyline that's happening, but also because the minute you put a secondary belt on Jericho is the minute he then changes sites to go for the TNT title, and then we have the AEW Grand Slam champion, like the first in that business. And I don't think they want to put that on Jericho. And I think Jericho, for all that he's doing for good, it's a notch on a belt. Being the first Grand Slam champion in a new business is.
I don't think that was the case back in the day.
I would laugh if
WWE.
somehow out of all of this stuff with Impact, somehow Jericho becomes an Impact champion. Jericho becomes X Division champion just for the absolute lols of it.
That would be funny.
It would.
Didn't Lashley become X Division champion at one point?
And then option 4's it to go for the heavyweight belt.
Yeah, exactly. Straight cashes in, goes for it.
But no, that was just my thoughts. But other than that, yeah, it was really good match. I mean, the Bucks were, again, like I said, I'm surprised that they're still working less than 100%.
My biggest problem with any of the EVPs having the belt means that there's probably considerably less focus that they're doing on projecting the stuff that they should work on. Like you have the division leads for the tag team division have the belt. You know, you have a division lead for the women's thing who's obviously got the heavyweight title, who's promoting the show, which means immediately he's got 100 different things to do, as well as being one of the main associates for like wanting this storyline with the other businesses as well. It's I feel like it's good for them to have it at least once, but they need to focus more on everything else that we can have. And hopefully, you know, we'll see what's going to happen with an extra Dark next week, because like after Dynamite, it seems like a lot of the main Dynamite talent is going to be on that Dark as well. It's probably going to be a massive show for its launch, but we'll see what happens after that.
The Dark Ignite, they call it, right? Or...
Yeah, it's Ignition or
Elevation.
Elevation. I keep calling it Dark Ignition, and then I'm like, Dark Ignition, Elevation.
That's an XCOM mission, isn't it?
Probably.
Operation Dark Ignition.
Look, everything's a buzzword. You could just turn around and make an XCOM mission out of most words.
Operation Vince's Jacket.
That's the one. $50 in a throwaway
Thrift
store, yeah.
I love the match. Like, you're gonna hear me saying that. You're gonna hear me saying that a lot in all of this today. Like, the match was good. Like, I didn't really feel the lull that John is saying, but I enjoyed it. But I'm a big Jericho mark, so I mean, I've met the guy live, so I've shaken the guy's hand like many years ago.
Did
so
you use hand gel afterwards?
Yes. Wouldn't you two after he's been handling the mic for like 2+ hours?
That's a good point. That's a good point because because Fozzy, isn't it?
Yeah.
A couple of extra takeaways from this. Also with Wednesday's Dynamite in mind, Wardlow obviously being quite effective. And now we're going to get Wardlow. We're going to get Wardlow Hager now as a result of this thing. And I, for one, would really like to see that because they've been teasing it for a long time and actually hating each other. Also, Jericho doing a tombstone pile driver.
Yeah.
My immediate thought was, please don't. But did it right.
Well, it's a tombstone pile driver. Pile driver.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. There are so many different variants of pile drivers that happen in AEW. I cringe every time I see one.
Well, you had the Meltzer driver, obviously, being the showcase.
Well, the counts cancelled into an actual. I've never seen Jericho do a tombstone.
But there was a normal pile driver on Dynamite this week as well.
But there's like people. It's one of those ones that people who've been around for ages. And are trusted. So Chucky T does one, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Which is like a sort of weird stunted one, which looks sick.
I don't know. I just like. I cringe. Just every time I see a pile driver of any variant, like the Canadian Destroyer as well. You know, every time I see that, I'm just like, eee.
Yeah.
Especially when it's been done on ladder.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, that's
I think it's just because you know more. Like, you read these autobiographies, which were the thing before you had all the podcasts, you know? And it's just like, you know so much more from the outside looking in, and it's just like, Yeah. But yeah, I think we can all say, was there anything else you wanted to raise, Kev?
No, nothing else other than a very hot start. Very hot start to the paper.
Very hot, yeah. Well, going from that into, like, my biggest problem with this was the amount of tag matches on the card.
That was the problem. It's like WrestleMania 2000.
Yeah. But they followed up the tag team championship match with the Casino Tag Team Battle Royal for the future shot at the tag team championship match. I'm not going to list through all the names again because
there was too many, too many. There was like 20 teams.
There were a good amount of spots in this. It wasn't as boring as I thought it was going to be to watch. It has everything that I really want from a Royal Rumble type match, which is lots of people in the ring doing things. And there was this, like, a good surprise at the end with Rey Fenix and Jungle Boy showing like just what they can do in a singles like environment. And
I think they've done that before.
They have done. They
so...
like the amount of times that you'll see Rey Fenix or Jungle Boy in singles competition and the work they do in that ring is just astounding.
Yeah.
Like, but it's so good. Rey Fenix obviously representing Death Triangle, winning, and obviously knocking Jurassic Express back down the rung again.
Get out of here!
Hey, at least they get over with their song, with their licensed song.
That final four. That final four that we had. Very nice. And Pac versus Silver.
Oh, I need it. I need it in my veins. Like that singles match. I said it on Discord.
You could hear the crowds.
I said it on Discord, like in the Last Minute Continued Discord, which I'm sure there'll be a link in the video or the podcast description. I need more Pac versus Silver. Like, I just want it. I want a singles match of it, because there was this a big thing that we had a big conversation with in the Discord as well a while ago. It was like where I went out and I found a match of Cage versus Silver, which I linked to everybody, and I had a newfound love for both Brian Cage and John Silver for what they can do, because obviously they're both different ends of that spectrum. But Pac's obviously in a realm all of his own, But just give me Pac Silver, please.
As soon as they came nose to nose, everybody was like, even commentary was like, "Oh yeah, let's go." Commentary was like, "Yeah, we need this," which is odd to have. It's not something that commentary do that often. Actually, going, "Yeah, let's have some of this. Let's go." And that's money immediately. That match, absolutely money immediately.
I don't know how they'd get to that point though, unless like Dark Order start fucking with stuff, or
Speaking of Dark Order,
Dark Order teams.
There was one very notable spot from one Mr. Uno. That was quite notable during that match. The Hurricanrana into the pole, where he didn't have enough. He wasn't close enough to the pole to knock onto the pole. So he
sent himself. He sent himself into the pole.
He run into poor Uno.
It wasn't the best of Hurricanrana. Bloody Marco stunt, for God's sake. I mean, it's not like.
He tried his best.
Marco Stunt nearly paralysed himself on the apron as well from that, by the way.
Also, can I have more Stu Grayson, please?
Well, Stu, he's a beast.
He's a monster.
He's like, what's he doing trying to get somebody that size up into any kind of torture rack? What? Just what?
But yeah, this match definitely showed off what the tag division can have, and there is a lot. I forgot how many tags are in AEW, and that's minus like the separate tags you have in Dark Order, like the 4 teams that they have in that stable. It's like there was even some tags that I didn't even know was even part of the company, like the Bears.
I mean, again, like it's stuff that if you're not watching Dark as well.
Yeah,
it was like Mike Seidel, and it was like what Matt's brothers in. It's like they're a tag team. I was like, oh okay. Yep. But there was so much stuff out of this. We had the Natural Nightmares breaking up effectively.
Although there was no real context to that on Dynamite, so we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, we had Butcher and Blade, but Buddy constantly causing Bless Alley all the way through, causing all sorts of issues for everything. And the fact that we had the 3 Dark Order teams doing various bits, and there was a bit of a team up at one point within it.
Against Private Party, I think, as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, indeed. We had Private Party coming in and sort of being a bit cautious of stuff. Lots of stuff mentioned. Even the pretty picture. I always love to see Peter Avalon, I've got to say.
I mean, I loved it, but there was some quite notable botches for the short time they were in there.
God, yeah. I was like, who's Peter Avalon coming out? Who is this giant guy? It's like,
So,
I don't care. Just get Peter Avalon just being funny.
It's quite amusing because there's obviously that team is now a trio based on the dark that happened before. Because they've got Ryan Nemeth as part of that little faction now as well.
Which kind of works.
It does,
Kinda
but
works.
it's just like, I think Ryan Nemeth would have been better than the big hulking bruiser who needs a little bit more work. You know,
He needs a little bit more. And that's a very generous way of describing it, Pete. He needs a little bit more work. I mean, Ryan could have fit into the Varsity Blondes as well.
Yeah,
That's
probably
going to be a
probably more so. You know,
yeah. We had we had Luchasaurus having to take on lots of really big men
that was.
and getting kind of his ass kicked.
I mean, I've said before how much I'd love to see Luchasaurus work because he had a really big shining moment as well where he's just taking people out. So
Yeah, he had his stuff. We had Gump Club coming out as like quite a notable thing. It's like, hey, a proper team together, first proper big match. There's lots of stuff to take away. Sadly, the thing that the team that didn't get a hell of a lot were actually Satana and Ortiz.
they did quite a bit of domination. They were knocking people out, but
I think they didn't get as much of a chance to shine as they
I think
should have
I
done.
think for their notoriety as a tag team, they didn't get as much time to shine.
They need something, and then of course we had SCU.
SCU.
And of course we knew they weren't winning as soon as they came in, because
they
commentary
mentioned
basically
the
made an
thing,
excuse for them losing immediately, and it was like, well, that kind of screwed up what we were talking about on the predictions at the last minute.
Yep.
But hey, it was a wash, so be it.
Apparently, yeah, they haven't really unfazed off the back of that either. So whatever. But yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, another good match. You really not something you can really take your eyes off.
No,
you know,
it's one
And,
of those matches.
seeing Death Triangle getting the push now is interesting.
it was surprising to me that they won, but like off the back of like the singles match, like it's very weird because I'm not sure if I want them to do it or rather just have the Lucha Brothers. But then I think they're just trying to avoid Lucha Brothers versus the Young Bucks again. You know. But just
Hey, but
mixing
it gives Pac something to do. I mean, he's had nothing proper to do since since the whole
Eddie
lockdown.
Kingston.
The fact that everybody there is in Death Triangle is effectively interchangeable in that you can have,
you
Penta and
expect a
Pac
3-bird rule.
as a thing. You could have it with them the 3-bird rule, but
Possibly.
any one of those three could have been in that TNT ladder match with ease.
Yep.
And it's
Most
just,
likely Pac, really, but
well,
but
no,
nevertheless.
all three of them. Could
but
have
no,
been that with ease.
Pentagon would have been a good choice.
We
as well.
know how massively high the management is on Ray, on Phoenix, and rightly so.
Evident by Dynamite. Following after as
called
well.
one of the MVPs of AEW for the last year by Tony Khan. But yeah, loads of teams. Isn't it nice to have like healthy tag division somewhere? I mean, it's arguably too healthy.
Yeah, I would say that it is too healthy. It's like,
what a strange thing.
Again, this goes back to the point we made on the year roundup. Like, there's too much talent for the 2 hours they do, and even when they're on dark, like the matches, they're going to win anyway, so they don't really get to showcase anything. So hopefully we'll see more on Elevation, and if it's just going to get to the same point where it's notable team versus relative unknowns, and we don't get more stuff that's gonna, because it's just going to stay dark with dark essentially in terms of storyline. I don't think it's going to affect anything on the main roster, so I think it's still going to get to the point that we need a main roster second show, which I'm going to keep saying until it happens.
As I said on the Discord, as unlikely it seems, they need a brand split. They do a brand split for the second show. do 4 more pay-per-views and then alternate it.
I think if they do that, but have the champions jumping, like how they did on the first WWE brands, but with having the like instead of just the main champion, but both champions, all champions. Because that way, because the belts, you need to keep belt, not intrigue, prestige. Prestige is the word I'm looking for. You need to keep belt prestige. That becomes watered down when you have a second champion, like just for each brand, because then who is, like, you'll have a showrunner. Yes, they'll be your main champion, but then who becomes the company front runner? In the eyes of WWE,
where you can put in a extra belt, which sort of. I think there's word to have like
another belt below the TNT, which is like the Intercontinental or the US belt. I know the TNT belt is aiming to be their workhorse belt, but like for it to be a workhorse belt, it needs to get away from this Team Taz bollocks. I'll be honest, because it's tiresome. But yeah, let's move on. Hikaru Shida defending her belt against Ryu Mizunami. Kev, I'll let you take this one out.
The knee. Dusk made my bloody day when he said that, because it just goes back like a decade to when he was living with me. Any time we saw a William Regal match and he hit the knee trembler, we just went going, the knee, and it was very much like that with this. It was we had the ongoing story. We had Shida was disrespected back when she was a youngster coming up by Mizunami, and they said, you're never going to beat me in like 100 years or whatever it was. And yeah, so that was our story, which we eventually learned from Excalibur. Thank you, Excalibur. As to why this was so important. Yeah, it just became it started off like an I can hang with you match, and it started to get more and more hard, more and more stiff, more and more just it dissolved into finisher spam a bit, but it was very much a case of I am stronger than you and I'm going to prove it, to the point where they were just taking really stiff shots, and Shida was just laughing at one point, because it was just out of like you just can't take me. We had Mizunami continue the disrespect theme pretty much for the entire match as well. It was only like the last sort of 5, maybe 7 minutes where things started to get a little bit more desperate, and she sort of dropped that a bit. But like we started off with like the stupid slaps in the corner, which I thought looked really crap initially, but then I thought about it and it's like yeah, she's playing up to a point where it is ridiculous, because that's the level of disrespect that she has for Shida. Yeah, a lot of nasty suplexes, a lot of running knees indeed, throwing everything, including the kitchen sink, at the opponent, and it was very much a case of, well, the last thing is the last thing in the arsenal is the thing that does it, and it's the simplest thing. And even that wasn't, cut and dry. It was the finish was very. It was a little bit anticlimactic because so much had been chucked at each other. It was a little bit out of nowhere, a little bit anticlimactic as a result.
I mean, when you start getting to finisher spam and then you're like, just like one just lands it at the end of it, it does feel a bit like it's just, is that it?
Yeah, like it's a bit. Just a general roll up from it. Yeah, but
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's Japanese wrestling in a thing though for big names over there. Like, I'm not sure if that's how that sort of thing works. So like that. I don't watch enough. I don't watch any Japanese wrestling.
A lot more finishers are protected. It's a little more finishers are protected over there. So that, I mean, kicking out, especially among obviously the big male names, especially. Is like a finisher. If you kick out of somebody's finisher over there, it's just like it's probably not been done in the last 6 or 7 years.
Just look at Kushida versus Omega.
Exactly. It wasn't so much of the case of, I mean, Omega didn't even win that match, as I recall
No.
correctly. But he kicked out of the first one, which was whatever. And we've had instances where people in Japan will kick out of the finisher at 1, and then that's the big thing. It's like, wait, hang on a minute. Okay, so what level do they take it to? And they still normally win. But yeah, very stiff, very hard pressed, yeah, it was a match where it was a match, as we said before, we didn't have any investment going in, so it was a match where you sat back and just let it happen. But even so, I was still engrossed, because it was like, at what point is Shida's neck going to be broken by one of these suplexes? At what point is Mizunami's neck going to be broken by one of these knees? Because they were just getting harder and harder. It's like, come on now, somebody's skull's going to be crushed at this point.
That's what I fear the most, is that these the Joshi wrestlers are just gonna hit each other as hard as possible until something gives eventually. I don't want to see what happens when someone does give, because it's not gonna be pretty. But
I mean, they're still going.
they're still alive.
There was a point where I thought they would still be going for the rest of the night. I'll be honest with you. But hey, I don't know. Pete, what did you think of that match?
I enjoyed it. That's it. I watched the thing.
That's kind of isn't it? You just enjoyed it.
Yeah, just enjoyed it. Like, it was good. Like, I've said this before. Like, I don't know how much it's going to be before like people just get sick of it. It's just like, he just enjoys everything. Like, it was good.
And we had the follow up from the tournament though afterwards with the fallout, because yes, she's finally got her respect. By the way, thanks for cutting away from the handshake. 10 years in the making, guys. Well done, production team. But we did have.
It's not always Kevin Dunn's problem. It's just an American problem.
I'm going to blame him anyway.
It's
all
Kevin Dunn.
Kevin Dunn,
AEW working cousin.
Stephen.
It's his younger brother, Kieran Dunn. That's who it is, Kieran Dunn. I bet you were the one responsible for piping in the NBA stuff on TNT as well the other day.
I didn't watch it live, so like in the version I watched, it wasn't in there. So
yeah, it was only TNT stuff. Fight was fine.
Fight's always okay.
Not sure it was. But obviously we had Vicky Guerrero
and Nyla Rose,
who's called the cackling vixen.
Fucking amazing! What a name!
Line. What
a name!
The cackling vixen.
Yep. But yes,
they couldn't do another cat animal that obviously would be more notable.
What, she wears a necklace which says cougar on it already.
The cackling cougar.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought they would call her, but no.
We'll probably find there's some sort of Mexican cartoon called Cackling Cougar. We don't know about.
So yes, after we've had a break from tag team matches for the first time in 4 matches, we go back to another tag team match, of which we have Miro and Kip Sabian against the Best Friends. Cassidy and Taylor. I mean,
well,
it's good to see Miro do the work. Like, it's good, you know.
It started off obviously as a brawl from the back going into.
Yeah, no, it was brilliant. I loved it. The pre-show thing was fantastic.
Yeah, just.
It was the fact he did it, and then he came back and went, "Play my music."
Play my music. It's like, yes, sir.
There you go, character. See, that's something that was missing, obviously, from when he was Rusev in WWE, is to let him have that character and whatnot. And there he goes. He's got that character in AEW.
Everybody has been waiting since he came to AEW for him, for this freaking psychopath that you knew was there. This character, this monster that just would destroy everything in his path, including his friends. Mm-hmm. For it to actually manifest, and boy did we get it. Mm-hmm. everybody. Well, Chuck Taylor obviously got the worst of it, but Orange Cassidy, got quite a bit of it too. Yeah, Miro just destroying everybody. Every move Miro did looked like it should have ended the match.
Huh?
Yeah.
We had stuff and even we had friendly fire because he pretty much deliberately shoved Orange Cassidy into Penelope Ford, then got upset with Kip Sabian for checking on his wife, rolled his own tag team partner into the ring, demanding a tag. Nothing was stopping him in that match, and about time.
I mean, I have the feeling that Sabian's going to be responsible for the loss of the follow-up match to this, and Miro's going to go mental.
And then you have Miro destroy Kip Sabian. He might well destroy Penelope Ford as well.
Correct.
Maybe.
I think that would be completely screw loose. He probably should. Penelope Ford is going to eat a matchka kick by the end of this thing.
Probably off the ring into a bunch of tables. Yeah. But I think we'll go on to the match that I'm quite sure everybody was looking forward to. Hangman Adam Page against Big Money Matt Hardy in a big money match.
This was my match of the night.
I did say to a lot of people this is going to be the match to watch for.
It was the sleeper. It was the sleeper of them all.
Absolutely sleeper match, yeah.
Yeah. It's like I love the work that was done between the two. Adam Page, like I said, it's like he needed this win. Like I said, and it definitely showcased. And of course, you had the distraction finishes. You had the distractions here and there, and that was evident by who was on which side and whatnot. But no, overall, really good work.
Had the run-ins. Everybody that was involved in this story came in.
Lot of great character work. Of great character.
I just love that spot at the end. Just absolutely, it's like, mwah. Just like Adam Page being knocked off of the apron, Dark Order able to hold him up, putting him right into the buckshot lariat. Boom.
I liked the buckshot that Matt counted into the side effect.
That was and the crowd popped for it as a near fall. I mean, they legitimately thought he'd got it, and it's like, I legitimately thought Matt had it off the side effect. But then I remembered it's
Matt
a side effect.
Win anything off the side effect.
Win off the side effect. But
that Sami Zayn has won a match out of a Blue Thunder Bomb. Nobody
but that was when the Blue Thunder Bomb was his finisher. Fair. Early days, Blue Thunder Bomb was his finisher. And then it sort of swapped places with a hell of a kick. I still would have liked Matt to have won it. I think for the benefit of the Big Money Matt gimmick. I think you've got to... But again, if that gimmick, I think, can also survive this because...
Well, like I said, what I was reading from the synopsis is that it was only losing the first quarter earnings.
Yeah.
So it's not like it wasn't a massive pull.
And he's actually come out on Twitter, and because I believe that Butcher and Blade are aligned with him now.
So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's happened off Dynamite without spoiling too much, because of what happens at the end. There's an obvious face turn, while the rest of the faction is still heel aligned. So the Butcher and the Blade are now with Matt Hardy. And they're now going to have so Matt Hardy's faction is going to be on Elevation, and then after that they're going to be having what looks to be like a 10-man tag team match against Dark Order.
Hey, good. Sure, let it happen. But
I want to see John Silver fucking destroy someone.
He probably will. But as I was saying though, because that character is a character that will it's like a well, I'm not saying it's anywhere near the same level. It is that Bobby Heenan type character. It is, and obviously there's the Ted DiBiase of influence there, but it is that character will win, but it will never win.
Yeah.
It'll never be the ultimate victor, but it'll cause you lots of pain along the way. So it's a character that will always keep getting its comeuppance, and that's fine. But what was the reason I brought that up was because Matt said on Twitter about, wait, I don't know why you're bothering with this, because somebody said, I don't know why you're bothering with Butcher and Blade and stuff, because you're just gonna have to give all the money to Adam Page anyway. And Matt responded with, but the first payment due from Butcher and Blade is not due until the 1st of April. So it's after the first quarter. So it's like, so even then, though Adam Page has kind of won, and he's won friendship, because that was the real winner here, as we know. The real winner here was friendship and the big hug at the end. But
And a lawnmower.
and a lawnmower. A mower of lawns.
A mower of lawns.
Mower of lawns. That's
Get that right.
I mean, they don't own that gimmick.
I don't think we could say like this match was like, I mentioned it in the predictions, it was going to be the one to watch for. Everybody's saying it was a sleeper match. Even JR said it was going to be the sleeper match of the night as well.
Yeah.
It's just too good.
A lot of
Like,
fun,
it was...
hard hitting, lot of good work from both of them. Matt knew what he was doing in putting Adam where he should be. Adam delivered. What's more not to like?
Now, I think the next match is going to have some interesting connotations for what people want to talk about, but it's the Face of the Revolution ladder match. Scorpio Sky defeating Cody Rhodes, Penta El Zero Miedo, Lance Archer with Jake Roberts, Platinum Max Caster, and Ethan Page, who was the mystery sixth entrant, who I had no idea about because I've never watched Impact.
A great talent over on Impact. The all ego gimmick is very much deserved, and he's already obviously come out as a heel, which is exactly what he should be.
So at least they got that part.
I will tell you this though. Something I've noticed, not just but I noticed it more with the reveal of the big signing, is they are letting them keep their Impact gimmicks and music.
It's the relationship with Impact at the moment, so makes it easier, I think.
We'll get on to the big signing in a minute, but I'll follow that up. I'll follow that when we get to it, because I've got a question about that then.
That's sure. I think it's after this.
Yeah.
I'll have a look. Talk about the ladder match.
Talk about it in a minute then.
Okay. I mean, granted, I would have liked a briefcase, just a regular old briefcase up there to kind of like indicate a winner and whatnot. Not, a power ring. Really?
Dynamite, AEW.
I know they were trying to indicate. Obviously, the indication it was supposed to be a brass ring, and it's like, but guys, the lighting was bad.
Everybody just...
Let's be fair here. Would you prefer the brass ring or the comically oversized poker chip?
The comedy oversized poker chip.
I would have liked the poker chip, actually.
The comedy oversized poker chip.
Yeah.
But obviously that wouldn't have worked with what we've got.
Because that would have been a nice thing to cash in.
It could have been a contract, it could have been a clipboard, it could have been any of those. A literal brass ring.
I just want a comically oversized clipboard with a tiny fucking bit of paper attached to it, which is just the contract.
Well, come on, it's like we had we were just talking about Impact. Impact eventually, they had a contract on a contract ladder match or whatever, and it's like the actual paper contract fell, so it's like everyone just fought for the clipboard. So that
I remember that.
So
that was it. In all fairness, that was actually a very good match to see, just on what wrestlers can do when it does go wrong. Because when that happened, it suddenly became a big thing. There was something very similar in WCW as well, when one of the eternally playing out something on a pole matches. It fell down,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you've got a whole different thing that everyone had to wrestle to. Personally, I was hoping to see it cut to Matt Cardona up a ladder, desperately spray painting an AEW toy ring bronze. That's what I was hoping. But alas, no. So we had this giant life preserver for very small children.
Okay, now
For dogs. It was a dog chew toy, I'll tell you that.
Okay,
Well, let's just call it.
It was a comedy-sized polo mint, or a lifesaver, I guess, if you're in the US.
So what you're saying is it was a life preserver for Darby Allin, is what you're saying.
Oh, well, we'll get to that when we get to that match. There, I think he needed something to save his life. But no, this ladder match. Oh wow, it was really like hard hitting, like the uses of the ladder. Obviously, you know, Miro was not Miro, but Mero. Yeah,
Penta.
Zero.
Penta.
We'll just go Zero. Yeah,
Not
easier.
not Pentagon.
Not
Junior.
Pentagon.
Yeah. There was some buzz. Max Cast. I still don't know why Max Caster was there.
Probably
Just
to
fill
fill a
it.
hole.
But we have other
But fuck it, I'm kind of coming around. I'm kind of coming around to it. Like the musical vignettes on Dark and Dynamite have been entertaining me somewhat. I'm kind of coming around to them.
It feels very much early John Cena, doesn't it?
Yes.
Well,
And
granted-
I was always a fan. Like when nobody else was, I was a fan of the Doctor of Thugonomics.
I thought he was all right back in the day. So if he wants to keep going on that,
I was a big fan of
on
Hulk
that run-
Hogan before he suddenly became big.
indeed.
Except I wasn't because I wasn't alive.
I was definitely alive when John Cena was the Doctor of Thugonomics.
Are you
thank
sure?
I'm
Are
not.
you really
sometimes,
sure?
Sometimes I'm not. I'll be honest with you.
Lance Archer got to be a beast. Penta got to be very violent.
Jake Roberts did a thing.
Jake Roberts did a short arm clothesline, got the biggest pop of the night in a ladder match
Jake Roberts
with a
then
short
took
arm
bump.
clothesline.
Jake Roberts then took a bump.
Jake Roberts got fucking
then-
super kicked by Penta.
Yeah, and then took a nice little rest on the apron. It's like
Because he
was
got
so
super
out of
kicked by
place there.
Penta and he sold the crap
Yeah.
out of it. Scorpio Sky was obviously the heir apparent.
Although there was plenty of times where it was like, you know, like Sky was like he was out
Yeah,
like multiple times, and yeah, he came back and he bloody won the bloody thing. Come on,
You know what I'm
Jesus,
doing?
that was crazy.
You know what I'm doing, don't you, Kev? I'm reaching for the sky.
fuck's sake. Again, we had AEW, and we've mentioned this before, where it's like, yeah, there's stuff going on in the ring, but if somebody's like, if there's something happening behind, you know, there's something in the foreground, but there's also something in the background that you maybe you want to keep an eye on. That's not necessarily referenced.
This was something that I mentioned throughout the match on Discord. It was just like, because obviously Cody had some sort of Falx injury. Not sure if it's true. Not sure if it's false. Not sure if it was just a twinge or something.
They've kept it very much.
They were in the face entrance portal hole thing, and I just kept saying, "Are they still at the back there?" To which point we all had a glance, and even Kev picked up and said, "Like, yeah, Arn keeps looking at what's going on in the ring."
Yeah, Arn kept checking. Arn kept checking about what's happening. So it's like he's going to come back at some point, probably, because he's fighting. He's fighting with Doctor. He's fighting with Arn. He's fighting with everybody else there, and he kind of looks out of it, but he keeps looking back. You can clearly see that he wants to go back. And commentary did make a big thing about, look, well, he's not entirely gone, but also eventually they stopped mentioning it, but he was still there, and it was still something going on in the background. You knew, as a wrestling fan, you know that Cody's going to come back, and they kept up the argument, and then he disappeared for a while, and it was like, oh, maybe they're not, maybe that's genuine, and it gives you that sort of that full sense of, as a fan, that you know what is going on, and okay, that's a thing, and then they pull the trigger anyway. So yeah, it was good. Of course, he came back and then just got his ass kicked for his trouble, and got really hurt. Like, because we had the arm tape. Pretty much everybody hit him in that arm. I can't think of anybody who didn't.
He sold it like he was taking a chair shot every time. I don't know. Again, it was just a match that you just watched. It just, there was always something going on. Really,
yeah. There was the spots were, big. Like, there was a ton of them.
There was one thing I didn't like about the match.
It ended.
No. And I was actually disappointed by him. That was Lance Archer. But
yeah.
not due to the ring stuff. When they were setting up spots, Lance Archer had zero subtlety about it at all.
The thing in the ladder.
When he's in the ladder, it's like,
he's just like when he was just there, he's just
staying
in the ladder and just waiting for it. Yeah,
yeah. But there was a couple of others as well. There was clearly setups, and he was clearly setting them up, and he might as well just have been going, "Excuse me, out the way."
Yeah.
Get the flags out.
And that
signal it.
Because everything else that didn't involve him, I didn't see being set up. But if it's someone so blatant, because we know how terrible it is. Ladder matches are kind of very glaring when there's a setup. But outside of those things, I didn't really notice. Probably because of investment as well, with what I was seeing. But hey.
But yeah. Moving on from that, we had the contract signing / reveal of the Hall of Fame worthy talent. Predictions were rife between Kurt Angle, who did a fucking video pretty much soon, I think, after we did our predictions video and stuff like that went up, of him lacing up boots and something. And
what a tease!
Yeah, he came out at the right bloody time.
Well, he jumped on it to just capitalise. And good luck to him, and it just helped AEW in the end, didn't it? So
yeah.
But yeah, there's that. People think it was RVD. There are even people thinking it was John Cena and Brock Lesnar, for God's sake.
For crying out loud, those stupid people. That's Sam Driver, all right. It's like Sam Driver was the.
It's not even. It's not just that. Like, I mean, it had people who they use specific wordings, and these are people in the know that know certain contracts aren't there at the moment. Are willing to dump the money. We know they are. But yeah, it turned out it was our boy Christian Cage, back with old Impact theme music as well.
I wasn't sure if it was his Impact theme as well, because obviously he owns Christian Cage.
I went to go and listen to it after the fact.
And it was his Impact. Good. Music. That music's great.
Obviously, it's been up jazzed a little bit from.
Well, you need to update yourself. You need to freshen up.
It's the same thing, even down to the countdown.
Yeah, I'm happy for him. I'm happy because I knew fine if he's stuck around at WWE, they would do nothing with him.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. Like, WWE have clearly got things in mind for Edge, but there was
Edge.
There was rumorings that there was going after the WrestleMania match. There was rumorings that there was going to be New Day versus Edge and Christian that they were going to gear up for. But WWE once again, it surprises me that a company that is grabbing every bit of young talent it can refuses to keep their older legend talent on the books. It utterly surprises me.
And it's like, why? Because
apparently
WWE was disappointed. Apparently, but they were disappointed. It's like, what do you mean they're how do you get to be disappointed, WWE? You had every opportunity to tie this guy down.
You would have thought they would have learned after the original Impact scenario, where half of their Legends talent all went over to Impact,
including Christian.
Christian, when Sting Legend contract ran out and then appeared on AEW. And, do you remember that whole thing with Ric Flair where they gave him the Hall of Fame ring, gave him a Legends contract. It ran out. He went to Impact, and to get him back, they had to give him another Legends contract and another Hall of Fame ring.
Yeah, but that was a good thing, because we ended up having that Ric Flair versus Ric Flair segment, which remains perhaps my favourite thing in all of wrestling ever.
Yeah.
If
you wondered, it's
I don't get it. Like, I feel good. It's kind of after Dynamite. I'm not too sure. Because obviously they're gearing Christian up for a world title shot against Omega in the future. I'm not sure I'm happy about that, because I feel like it's going to be a one and done thing.
Well, it's making it look like Impact, circa 2005, 6, or whatever it was, where
but
Christian was NWA TNA champion.
What people forget about TNA 2005-6 was before the Bischoff Hogan crap. And TNA 2005-2006 were pretty bloody good.
Wasn't that weren't those years also the ones with the the AJ Styles triple threat match?
The triple threat match, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, AJ Styles, all that series of matches and interactions.
I have no doubt the match is going to be good. My problem is that it's going to be a lot slower than I think Omega's going to be kind of used to, compared to people his age or younger that he's wrestling at the moment.
I don't know. I mean, we haven't really seen Christian's kind of.
The man's had a broken neck, man. Like
but look at Edge, and he came back from a broken neck.
And Edge is also noticeably slower.
Yeah, but he's not absolutely molasses, for crying out loud.
No, yeah, but it's just
he's not like molasses like Hogan is.
Well, Hogan's been molasses for the last 25 years. I mean, it's not really.
I mean, it goes against what I said previously. Whereas, when there was Kingston Moxley, and I was just like, do you think Kingston could take the title off Moxley? And all of us had a resounding no. Now, do we think Christian could take the belt off Omega? Like, he is undeniably a world champion. He has the caliber of a world champion.
Well, guess who?
From what we know of him, but do you think he's going to take the belt off?
Well, here's the thing: it's like we had this when Chris Jericho was going after the title, between him and Adam Page and whatnot. So, if we said yes to Jericho going up against Adam Page, and Jericho getting the title, why can't we say yes to Christian?
Because I think at this point, I mean, they've had their base year, and they've kind of built the company around Moxley. But if they are legitimately thinking of putting the belt on Christian, that means that Omega is winning the Impact World title.
Which is a possibility, because that's the match that they've got.
It's a possibility
coming in, and it's Don Callis as well. Don Callis will have that connection with Christian as well.
Yeah, we can expect Christian to appear.
And you can never know. There could be like a turn in there as well.
There's nothing.
Maybe. I think it leads to a lot of things, because I don't think they're going to have someone having both the AEW and Impact World Championships at the same time. I don't think that's going to happen. If it is, it won't be for very long. And I think if they put that belt on Omega, then he'll be on Impact TV more than he will be on AEW for he'll appear with the belt every week or something, or do it like a segment like he has been doing. But I don't think they'll have both belts on the same person.
It goes back to what you were saying earlier, Pete, with Omega's priorities and concentration.
But yeah,
but I'm happy for Christian.
It's interesting. Oh, yeah, I think we're all happy for Christian. Like, he'll definitely have more work than if he signed a Legends contract and just appeared like every so often, did a promo, and then wrestled once every. And
he's out to put a statement as well.
Yeah, we've not heard from him yet. He's not actually spoken,
because he has that one slogan on his t-shirt. It's like
outwork everybody.
Outwork everybody.
I wasn't too sure about that sort of slogan either. Like, I mean, I feel the same way about that as I felt about. You remember when we had the when we did the show of what we thought about the all AEW zone. I said I don't really know how you can say somebody is all elite. Like, what does it say for everybody else who works for you but doesn't have that contract? You know, like it's like a prestige thing. Like we're not elite enough to. We're elite.
You know what?
You know
they need to do with Christian. Kill switch has to be a you don't kick out of it.
Yeah, but he then has to have matches to build that up, though.
Yeah, but
which he'll probably have before he gets to that title match.
There's a lot of stuff for Christian to do. I mean, you bet. Again, it's another one of these veterans that will work with the younger talent.
Yes,
which is great.
You've
got some built-in stuff with once we're done with Omega because history of Matt, history of Jericho.
I get that, but if you judge that based on anybody who has been in that world championship position, Jericho barely did a match between pay-per-views. Moxley barely did a match between pay-per-views. Omega doesn't do a match between pay-per-views.
We got to build that up.
They have I'm sure if Paul White's going to have a match on Elevation or like Dynamite or whatever, then I'm sure Christian needs to have at least an exhibition match to show that he can get the job done.
Christian as TNT title end boss.
That would be interesting. I think giving Christian a TNT belt. I think I would have been more happy for Christian to be signing the contract and being the last person in the Revolution ladder match, winning it, and then going on against Darby Allin and having a stellar match.
Christian intrigues me as a match.
Yeah, I think I'd be more happy and interested than Christian coming in, signing a contract and going, I'm challenging Omega for the title. I think I'd be more interested in that.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll have to wait and see.
Lots of excitement. Ahead.
We'll see. Anyway, so speaking of Darby Allin, I mean, out of all there was going to be two guesses for pre-recorded matches. One was this, and the other one was the championship match, the main event, as John says. But it ended up being Darby Allin and Sting versus Team Taz, Brian Cage and Ricky Starks, with Hook and Powerhouse Hobbs there with Taz on commentary. So I don't know how I feel about this. I think my comment on the Discord when it happened is I think it's one of the better actual pre-record cinematic matches. I think it's one of the better cinematic matches.
It was shot well. It was shot well.
I actually want to go ahead and call it a cinematic match rather than what we've had in terms of the Firefly Funhouse match or the Boneyard.
It was more close to cinematography in terms of the match than a cinema experience.
Especially all the scenes that had Alan in there. It was very evident with what they were, framing
Alan
him in the shot. Because he was crazy doing all those the spots that he was in.
I'm trying to remember who was a notable world champion who a lot in their youth they did a lot of the hardcore stuff, and it escapes me.
You could say Mick Foley.
Stuff, yeah.
Like Mick Foley would be your top
I'm
person.
talking
world
post,
champion of that,
post
not
Attitude Era. I'm talking post 2000, 2001 onwards type of stuff. Like 2005 onwards, I should say. There was someone who did a lot of hardcore stuff in WWE who later went on to mid card and high card championship matches and made a notable face for himself.
You could say Jeff, Edge, Jericho, a little bit possibly.
I think you're forgetting. That
Bradshaw.
That Shane McMahon.
Best wrestler in the world.
Yeah,
best wrestler in the world.
But,
took out AEW's new commentator, by the way, with Cinderblock.
Darby Allin's reminds me a lot of that. He's got a lot for him coming.
Allen is this AEW's Jeff Hardy.
I don't want
But
to
he's
say
more than that. He's more than that. That's the thing. He's more than what Jeff Hardy is.
And it was he who put together 90% of this match.
Yeah.
Including like cinematography stuff, and that probably more than the performance elevates him.
Mm-hmm. Again, like the only thing I'm about this match that I'm happy with is I'm hoping it ends the Team Taz feud. Like Sting looks like he's done with it and moving on to like other things, which I'm happy about.
At the moment, it's not looking like it though.
Well, he's looking, but Darby Allin might not have
Taz himself, but like the members, Team Taz, are wanting to try.
We need Team Taz to just carve out their little section, have Cage just murder people.
Yeah.
For the championship, and that's it.
After Dynamite, it looks like Darby Allin's going to have to deal with other things, which is
Zero.
good.
Yeah,
good.
I'm hoping that means that we'll see. I don't want to see another 4 to 6 month feud against like one person. Like, just have these matches. Like, make it the workhorse belt and defend the belt more. Get it that notoriety.
Well, again, it's just depending on. I mean, after all the injuries with Allen and whatnot, I hope that he can be enough to actually defend it on a week-to-week basis.
It wouldn't surprise me for Allen to do a TNT Open challenge and do that, and like that more. Like, how many times have we seen John Cena do like the US Open challenge and it elevate younger talent? Like TNT could not only elevate other talent, which is what the mid card needs right now, and the low card, but it can use it to elevate himself, and he's not just a punching bag for guys that are bigger than him. I really hope AEW don't go along the lines of WWE's always consistent fucking David versus Goliath mindset, because it can be so much better than that if the story's told well.
Yeah.
Two things from me. One was that the drone transition shot right at the beginning, where it went from the one side to the other.
Yeah,
that was amazing. Actually, that worked so well.
Sorry, you've reminded me about all the fucking opening to the match of them driving to the locations and how fucking stupid it was, and Taz just talking over commentary about it. It just boggled my mind.
The general feedback we got from the general feedback that was happening at the time live was that why do we have commentary? It would have worked a lot. People were saying it would have worked a lot better without commentary.
I think it added to it. I think the commentary was fine once we got into the actual match. I just think the commentary over the driving was just so. Oh, they're driving to the match. It's Brian Cage is a big monster. He needs to be taken there. It's just like Taz is just insipid. Like, it's really weird listening to Taz on Dark being so happy-go-lucky, except when anybody mentions a member of Team Taz, and he's like, "Fucking Team Taz, they're the fucking best." And then it's just so insipid. It's so serious, and you just couldn't take it, especially over where it was the driving, and then you had Sting in the pickup truck, and Darby Allin just skateboarding, just like
has Sting just. Have we just got it now that Sting's just canonically stolen this van?
Yeah.
He's just driving around everywhere. I love the fact that it's like, it's got a tape deck. It's like, yes, because he's old. Therefore, it's got a tape deck. It's like the biggest selling feature to him about this van.
Fuck me.
If we just open the back doors, it's just full of bats. Just all it needs to be.
I was fully expecting like the Sting logo to be on the fucking front of the fucking like the truck as well, just on the hood. I was just like,
it needs to be black on the side of the black, but just in like different colour black, so when the light catches.
I don't think the Crow had a vehicle back in the day, for Sting to emulate. His interests and whatnot.
See, they could have emulated the movie, because didn't the character have
it was emulated from the movie.
I know that, so. but didn't the actual character like have a roadster or something in the film or something?
kind of mind.
I can't
I don't
remember.
know. I haven't seen the Crow. I haven't seen the Crow in like 20 plus years.
Yeah.
So it's just, I just thought the commentary I was fine with, because you were generally watching it more than listening to the commentary for this, because it's so very different from a normal wrestling match. But the commentary over the driving just had me in fucking stitches. I'm sorry, Kev.
Number 2, the heave ho into the glass.
That's a notable one.
That was cringeworthy. Like, it wasn't cringeworthy, but it was.
And then came down on his head.
Yeah,
it was reaction worthy. Like, I notably reeled when he went through that pane of glass.
Ricky Starks realizing that he was trapped in a factory with Sting, and that Sting was just like they were on the other side. Like, I mean, no, Mr. Sting, please don't.
I mean, you've mentioned Dusk. Dusk and I have been talking about that point. He wants that as a GIF just because of Dead by Daylight reactions. And it's just like when he's trying to. It's I mean, it's so GIF worthy, but like.
But it's strange. He felt more like a fight.
Yeah.
Because it was just like I'm going to go this way. Okay, I'm going to go this way. What are you going to do about it? Steve's going, I'm going to fucking kill you. Just go around the side.
It did feel a little bit like
he felt more real.
I'm gonna fuck it open.
Yeah, it was very just the body language and stuff. It's what would happen in a fight if somebody's trying to get away. And the guy is like back and forth, fight. I'm just gonna pick up speed and walk faster, and I'm gonna fucking kill you. That was that. And the thing that nobody fucking noticed, which kind of bugged me at the time because I was checking on Twitter and stuff about what was going on. Nobody noticed that Sting was half Sting paint and half Darby Allin paint.
I noticed that Darby was full paint, so maybe
Darby was full paint, but it was a bit less. It was like his interpretation of Sting more than anything. It was still him, but if you looked at Sting facially, it looked a bit off. But that was because it was the Sting on the left, on the one side, and the other one was very much like a Darby Allin. So it looked like it was smeared, but it was just like his just dumb Darby Allin style, and they looked slightly off as a result. But Ricky Starks had desperately tried to get away from Sting. Sting was going. Also, that's the end. Just like that was a pretty fucking spectacular.
Can someone explain to me how they were on the same level, and then for the ending, Darby magically managed to be up a flight of stairs to throw a bat out of a window to Sting?
Magic.
Yeah, apparently
movie magic.
I also want to say how Ricky Starks managed to break a bat over his back and still managed to walk it off.
It's just, so Sting just looking at the broken handle like, you fucking broke my bat. Just like,
I love that bat.
There was so much.
You death drop after this.
As you said, Pete, there was so much to just smile about with that entire thing.
I think it's, as I said, like when it comes to cinematic matches, I think it's one of the best, and I think it will remain one of the best. I don't classify the deletion stuff as a match. I consider it a cinematic
entertainment.
That's an experience.
An experience is probably the better word. Cinematic experience, just like the Firefly Funhouse match is a cinematic experience because there's no wrestling going on there. Like I think that's
in the same bubble.
The Firefly Funhouse match is by far the best cinematic experience. And this Street Fight is the best cinematic match. And I think those are the two bars of those kind of forms of entertainment. For me.
Firefly Funhouse was a psychological deconstruction as opposed to a match. It wasn't a match at all, really.
No.
I mean, the closest thing you probably have is the Boneyard match, to be honest.
That was
just people just decking each other. That's
the physical side, and then there's this highbrow mental side, and then you've got underneath there you've got the deletion stuff, which is just mental. I
think they firmly sit somewhere in the middle.
I'll tell you what though, if that was Sting's last match,
I'd be happy with that.
I'd be happy with that. And how nice that
For him
when
to
we
win
talk
in his
about-
first
when we
debut match?
Talk
Yes,
about
I'd agree with that too.
Sting's the last match Sting has done. We don't have to talk about that fuckfest that
At WrestleMania.
at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
What versus the Terminator?
Versus,
Well, DX and NWO.
versus
Yeah, but that
Vince
was the
McMahon's
WrestleMania that Triple H
competition
came out
boner.
as King of the Terminators.
Well, that was because it was the film tie-in, though, wasn't it? It was
Yeah,
the
I
original
know.
tie-in
But
to
still,
whatever.
anyway, we're talking about AEW. We all
Last
like
match.
this. We all like this, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great match.
Good.
It was a great cinematic.
Right. Let's get on to the
Kenny
thing.
Omega against John Moxley in an exploding barbed wire death match.
I love how you use the quotations there.
For exploding, yes.
There
I
was
mean,
explosions.
There was here's one of the things. I've never seen a proper exploding barbed wire death match before. None of the Japanese ones, none of any of the ones that made it to the
I've
West.
linked one
This
in
is
the
my first
Discord. Definitely watch it.
Now, you could tell, from some of the camera angles, they didn't do the camera angles perfectly. You could tell the explosions are
Off to the side.
half a meter away from the ring, and there's someone
I think
pushing a button.
The most notable spot was
You still reel when one goes off because they play it well.
Yeah.
You know,
But
this had me on my seat. I was watching every minute of this. I was genuinely invested. I enjoyed it.
it was an enjoyable match up till.
I think
it did finish strong as well. It's
I
just
don't know.
everything
I think-
after it was the bad thing.
I think the minute. I think the minute the Good Brothers got in the match is the minute this match was tarnished for me. If it had just been them slugging it out, and then just them are the reason for the win, and then after the winner is declared, they want to do this whole hokey. We're gonna fucking watch John Moxley explode in the ring. The Good Brothers come out, beat him down, handcuff him, which break. And then just leave him for dead in the center of the ring, and then Eddie Kingston comes out to try and save his wrestling brother and everything else, and then you have everything that'd be fine. Having been to interrupt in the match, I feel was a bit unnecessary because it kind of just takes the step away from being a blood feud into it turns around and goes to the same where if you look as a WWE parallel again, which we're probably going to do a lot, it's going to be AJ Styles versus John Cena, and every time you had that match happen, you had the Good Brothers interfere as well, and you never got a good solid match between the two, and when you did, it was tarnished by the wrong person winning in that situation. Not in this situation. The right person won in this situation.
Well, not in their first encounter. It's I don't remember things.
The Good Brothers interrupted in every match.
SummerSlam?
Because they were doing the whole.
You're missing the point. You're missing the point I'm making. I'm referencing that sort of match.
Fine.
I'm not the fact that they were there. I'm referencing the kind of match in the blood feud type of situation. I feel like they tarnished the match as a whole. The match would have been better had they been in the post-match part rather than in the match itself.
It could have easily been served as to have them as this other threat, knowing they were there. You could have had a 15-second behind the scenes stuff where there was very clearly Omega was talking with them and with Callis, and they were clearly strategizing, and then have that as something that was sort of looming in the background as, are they going to interfere? Callis could have easily been the one just to hoy the exploding bat, or exploding mop, whatever the frick it was.
It was supposed to be a bat, but
it was supposed to be a bat. But I was cool with the exploding bat as well. But it could have easily just been him, and he could have just gone off from commentary and then back, because then Giovanni would have absolutely just fucking flipped his lid that he was going out and coming back and getting involved. Yeah, it's entertained the hell out of me. And we now know that there should have been a Big Bang. We now know that there should have been, and there wasn't. So it wasn't a case of that was what was intended at all. We now know that
I have a feeling stuff went wrong.
Something went very badly wrong.
Towards the end of the match, they started using the ropes on the sides that they'd used the explosions on more, and the explosions weren't going off anymore. And I think it's around that time that they'd lost control of a lot of the stuff.
There was only two. There was only two sets. We know that. There was only two sets. So at that point, it kind of made sense. The rope break one was ingenious.
I thought it was brilliant. Yeah,
that was
fantastic. It kept the one winged angel strong because it's just like a limp foot on the ropes. It broke up the count. Everybody was startled by it. I honestly
there was an explosion, obviously.
I didn't think that there was going to be an explosion off a rope break. Not at all. Didn't even think about it.
But again, as fan in the back of our mind, because we knew at that point, okay, there's two on either side, and we'd seen the two on either side. But the first one was the one at the front. The first explosion was the one at the front, so that was still there. And yeah, as you say, it was just like a very much limp. It was barely a toe hit the rope, but it was enough.
It was a Kevin Owens little finger.
It was, and it was just really. It really built up the dangerousness of the match. It built up Moxley's tenacity. It built up the one winged angel, because it was like, hey, that's the only way out of it was to take an explosion to the foot.
Explosive foot.
An explosion to the foot was the only way to break up this pinfall. Yeah, it was. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It's a great shit. They had the perfect end. Would have been the perfect end, which again pays tribute to the matches beforehand with Eddie doing that, and it's just such a shame.
It's just it's a big shame. I mean, I think it's one of the best pay-per-views, like, in a very long time. Like,
oh hell yeah.
It's just a shame that the one. It's because it's such a, like, if this wasn't such a high prestige, like, stipulation, and at the end of the card, it's. I mean, this is why they always leave, like, the big reveals at the end of everything, because it's the thing you take home with you. And the big thing that everybody takes home with them is not the fact that Kingston came out to save his brother. It's not the fact that two guys literally just had a fucking blood feud and Moxley only walked away with a t-shirt. It's the fact that everything fizzled and popped, and Kingston looks like he just fainted. And, you know, but, like, we've had, like, the off the back of it, we've had the phone recording of Moxley talking to the crowd and doing an impromptu thing of saying, like, how bad Omega is at building a ring. On Dynamite, we've had, like, Kingston say it was the anxiety and the stress of being out there that got to him and everything else. They've tried to cover their back so much.
And Giovanni in their Impact ad doing the same thing and mocking Omega for it. And it's like, still like, hey, we can have this and it all go wrong. And they're
very good at covering the back of the watch. It's just a shame that the one botch has overshadowed everything else to do on the pay-per-view. Bully
Ray tweeted a Vince McMahon quote, which is that people only remember the finish.
Yep.
Which is kind of true, because everyone kind of forgot that for the previous however many hours it was, we'd have actually just all enjoyed the hell out of it.
Yeah. I don't think there was a bad word that's said about it, but, like, it's just the thing everybody's focusing on. Anyway, because of the results, yours truly is the new last minute kick out predictions championship.
I will be gloat about it.
I will be. Sorry, I don't have a nice prestigious stand to put my shiny belt on because I don't have the shiny belt. So I have to talk about it and remind people, Kevin, in your editing glory, I want a nice belt just positioned over my shoulder for the entirety of the video. Just find a belt, like, make one which says LMKO predictions champion. I want it there. Just, like,
if I could make a belt,
okay, now he's
prediction champion, we'd all have one at this point.
Yeah. But yes, I will be defending that at Fastlane, where we will be returning for predictions and then a subsequent.
Fastlane.
Yeah, Fastlane. I think it should be a nice, easy title
The
defense
better
for me.
roadblock.
The Fastlane to WrestleMania. But yeah, WrestleMania week is a card full of wrestling.
Like I said, too much.
I mean, you don't
Yes.
even watch any of it.
Too
I have to
much
look at. I have to
wrestling.
look up the
There's too much
results
wrestling.
eventually.
But yes, marks out of 10, Mr. Turbo Finley. John
Besides the
Cena.
ending, I'll give it a solid 8.
Kevin.
Honest to goodness, 8.5. It was such a great fun experience. It is unfortunate about that, but that doesn't take away the enjoyment from the previous.
I'm giving it a 9.
Yep.
One thing brought down the whole card. That's it. I honestly think if they'd done that ring properly, that would be a 10 out of 10 pay-per-view.
It would have been in the discussion for all of us, I think.
Yeah, it would have been one of the best pay-per-views ever in the last, 30 years.
It would be the top scorer from us.
It would be in contention against WrestleMania X7 is where it would be in terms of the wider wrestling conversation.
Yeah, if it had gone off, but we know it's happened before. There's been duds before. Been duds in ECW. There's been multiple duds in Japan. There's the notorious one between Mick and Terry Funk where it didn't go off and then ended up whatever. But
At the end of the day, we'll just have to see where it takes us. There's I believe after this the next Dynamite is another special because it's St. Patrick's Day one.
St. Patrick's Day Slam or something.
Yeah, it's going to be fucking. I don't know. There's probably going to be some pay-per-view worthy matches on that card as well. If you haven't watched it, do go and watch the Dynamite from this week. There are some really good, high-quality pay-per-view matches on that card. It's insane. AEW are really picking up their stuff. Like, for only having one show with all the talent they have, like one main brand TV show with all the talent they have, the Dynamite shows are something to watch. Like, at least with Raw and SmackDown, I find myself skipping through the boring shit. I don't do it with AEW, at least, But, yeah. As always, guys, all our socials. They'll be in the descriptions wherever. Kev will probably put it on the screen because it's an automated inbuilt brain thing to edit it on the screen at the end of the card. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Titans Creed, joined by Turbo and Kevin. And we'll see you for Fastlane.